guys to know that when I speak to you today, I'm not just speaking to you as an athlete. I know you all are athletes, but I want you to really apply this in every area of your life that you can. So as a student, as just being a kid, growing up, anything you're going to come through in life, I want you to be able to apply this. So view it as an athlete right now, but also be open to take anything I say to really use it in any area of your life. So I want to start out, everybody raise your hand as high as you can. Everybody raise your hand as high as you can. All right, keep your hands up. Now raise them a little bit higher. All right, good. Put your hands down. So what's interesting about that is I told you to raise your hand as high as you could the first time, right? 100%. That's all I asked for. And you gave me that. But then you also found that you could raise your hand a little bit higher. It's interesting. So I asked for your 100%, but then you're able to give more. I want you to think about that. Because when you start using that in all areas of your life, you really open up a lot of doors. It's really interesting. We have a lot of power in us, and a lot of times we think we give our whole effort, but we always have more, right? We just raised our hands. That's all we did. Nothing hard. We just raised our hands. But you found a way to raise your hand higher. So imagine what your schoolwork would look like. I know you're telling yourself, like, I'm doing what I can. You know, I'm trying, I'm studying, I'm reading, but you can honestly do more, right? If you can raise your hand a little bit higher, you know you can do schoolwork a little bit better. If you can raise your hand a little bit higher than you thought you could initially, you can be a better athlete. You see where I'm going with this? Right? And I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a story. I believe we learn best through stories. I can stand up here and tell you about what I think and what my principles are, but I heard a story that's super powerful to me, so I want to share it with you. So there's an ancient tribe, and in this tribe, they've never been around civilization. They've never had like the modern world get in touch with them. They're just very ancient, thousands and thousands of years, never been touched by the outside world, okay? What happened is, in this tribe, they don't have cell phones, they can't text each other messages, right? So they have messengers, kind of like the olden days, but they had to run on feet, they didn't even have horses. What happens though, the people in this tribe could run up to 40 miles a day. How many people have ran a mile? Raise your hand. Okay, could you imagine doing that 40 times in a row? Me, either. No way. So people would run 40 miles a day. But they saw that the older people in the tribe could actually outrun the younger tribesmen. It's very weird. We know in our society today that a younger guy in his 20s is in his athletic prime, and he could outrun and be stronger than any one of the elders, like 50, 60-year-old, right? I should not have a 60-year-old outrunning me in my mile. That's just not how it's supposed to work. What's interesting though, they actually had researchers go and look at this ancient tribe and saw all of this stuff. And they were blown away. They're like, how could this be? The older people in the tribe are outrunning the younger tribesmen. How? The older people were faster, stronger, they were more built, they had more stamina, they were way stronger than the younger tribesmen. Okay? So when the researchers came to the tribe, they started studying them, and they spent time with them. And they realized after doing blood work and checking DNA and checking the genes and the genetics and all of this stuff, that they were no different than you and me. There was nothing different. The only difference was they believed. That's the only difference. So they had no touch with the outside world. They did not know the knowledge that me and you know. We know that as you get older, your body naturally deteriorates and that you're going to start slowing down. We have scientists that tell us this. We know it to be true. They didn't have that luxury. They just knew what they saw. What they saw is when you're born, you can't do as much, and as you grow older, you can do more and more and more, and they just kept that going until they were 50 to 60 years old, and they were running 40 miles a day. 40 miles a day. Raise your hand if you could run 40 miles in a day. That's what I thought. But what's interesting is you can. Your body can physically do it. You might be drained. You might not have trained for it. Your body can physically do it. Your mind can't because you don't believe. That's the power of belief. That's the power that belief has. You don't have to have a scientist telling you this can or can't be done because it's in here and it's in here. It's what they knew. And there's a difference in telling yourself that you believe something and living like you believe something. And I found this out when I went to college. I don't know if Coach ever mentioned to you what my GPA was or what my classes were like in high school, but I barely made it through. Like it was always 2.0, hopefully a 2.1, always. And so when I got to college, I told myself, all right, this is my moment. I was never supposed to make it to college. Here I am. I believe I can do it. And I'm going to go and get my 4-year degree in 4 years. And I'm not going to fail class. And then life punched me in the face. I failed math. I failed English twice. I can speak English. Why am I failing English? Right? I'm standing up here and speaking it. How can I be failing English? I failed biology. Things that I'm good at, I started failing. And it was because I told myself I believed, but I didn't live like I believed. And that's the difference, right? So the next few years, and I didn't know this concept, but the next few years I started living like I believed. I started living like a student would live if they were a good student. I started doing the things good students do. I started studying. And my world started to change. Things started to change around me. And so much so that I started passing my classes. And now I'm in love with school. I was just telling Coach Jolliffe on my way here that, man, I don't know what to do. I'm ready to get back to class because that's what I love to do. And I believe I can do well now because I live like I believe and I don't just tell myself I believe anymore. I want to tell you another story about a bumblebee. Do you know it's statistically impossible for a bumblebee to fly? Did you know that? A bumblebee is not supposed to be able to fly. Researchers will tell you that a bumblebee should not fly. Why? His body's too big, his wings are too small, and he's not aerodynamic. Somebody forgot to tell the bumblebee. Because he's flying, right? He's flying all around. It's all about how much do you believe, right? So we can talk about our big dreams, and we can talk about our small dreams. And sometimes our dreams are so big they're intimidating. They are, right? Does anybody have a dream that's intimidating? Something way bigger than you think you can do? Right, so let me tell you this. How do you eat an elephant? How do you eat a whole elephant?
Cut it up.
Good point. Cut it up. Right? Because can anybody in this room name me an animal in the whole animal kingdom that can eat an elephant in one bite? There's not. So how do you eat a whole elephant? You can cut it up. That's a great answer. But I say one bite at a time. One bite at a time. I didn't say you had to finish it today. I didn't say you had to eat the whole elephant today. Just one bite at a time. Eventually the elephant is going to be fully eaten. It's going to be gone. It's just a skeleton. Unless you're weird and you eat the bones. Well, whatever, right? But one bite at a time. So your dreams can be big. It's just like your dreams. How do you step into that big dream? You don't just wake up in it. You just focus on one little step at a time. That's it. You focus on one little step at a time, and eventually you'll step back, look up, boom, you're in your dream now. It's just like the elephant. Nobody can eat a whole elephant. It does not mean a whole elephant can be eaten over a course of time. Right? So, I want to talk to you about an average person versus a successful person. Can anybody tell me the difference between someone who's average and someone who's successful? The successful person loves what they do. They love it. Every aspect of it, they love what they do. An average person goes along with the ride. That's kind of how that works. So if you love what you do, you're going to love every aspect of it. You're going to love the process, the tiny steps, just like the elephant, right? You start falling in love with the tiny steps, you do them to the best of your ability, and now that you're one of the best at what you do, right? You fall in love with the tiny steps, and when you fall in love with the process, you'll fall in love with what the process creates. So I know right now I can't be the #1 motivational speaker in the world, but that's the dream. I can't eat the whole elephant in one day, in one bite. After I post this video, I will probably not be the #1 motivational speaker in the world. It's not going to happen like that. But if I focus on my reading, and I focus on my studying, I focus on my craft, and I practice that day in and day out, and I focus on tiny aspects of what I want to do, the dream can be mine. It's just over a course of time. Right? You can have, you can do, you can be whatever you want to be. But one, it starts with belief. Do you believe? Not just tell yourself you believe. Do you truly believe inside here that you can do it? And then when you find that gap, remember, when you raised your hand, you gave 100% effort. Can you find the extra effort that you gave when you raised your hand the second time? You can always raise your hand higher. Whether it's shrug through your toes, your shoulders, if you step on this chair, you can find a way to make your hand higher. So you can always find a way to do more in any aspect of your life. Remember, I'm not just talking to you as an athlete. I want you to take this in your schoolwork. Coach, I know she wants to see it in here. but I want you to apply this anywhere, right? So you have to believe. You have to find the extra effort, and you have to love what you do. Those three things, and the dream can be yours. So whatever you guys set out to do for the rest of your lives, I know most of you are, I know a lot of you are going to D1 schools. That's just amazing. So a lot of you have big opportunities, and I challenge you to use those three principles and really see just how far you can go. You can do and be whatever you want to be. You can have whatever you want to have. You just have to focus on the tiny steps to get there. So I want to thank you guys for allowing me to speak to you today. It really means a lot. I know I've worked a little bit on this message, but it's always nice to come speak where I'm from and a part of a program that I represented at one point in time. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.